You might have noticed that in the last several years, one of the trendiest topics in our spiritual community was the topic of healing ancestral karma. But you might also have noticed that in the last several months, something's shifted, something's changed. And what changed is that we as a collective have gone through some threshold of our spiritual evolution, after which we no longer require to be bound with our ancestors, and we no longer are responsible for our ancestors' issues and karma, so to speak, even though in the Last Truth teachings I explain why karma doesn't exist and why it is so. So again, if you're sensitive enough, if you're intuitive enough, if you can read the energies that are now kind of prevailing in our space-time here, in our society, in our collective, then you understand that we are breaking free. We are gaining more freedom. We are gaining more responsibility. We are getting closer to this realization that we are God. So we are embodying our God self more and more, better and better. And with that illusion fall out, and we start to realize that we were actually never bound by any karma or any ancestors. Because what we were dealing with, you were basically trying to heal yourself within, having a relationship with yourself only, but you were creating these intermediaries, those middlemen, like ancestors you call them, that somewhat affecting you. Like you have to pay their debt, their karmic debt in this life, and you're responsible for all these family issues in the past generations. But again, you will start to realize that this is actually not true. This is not the case. You no longer need that. You no longer self-prescribe to yourself these scenarios, those imaginary problems in the image of your ancestors that you need to heal and save and so on. Because you become more and more capable of holding a bigger amount of truth, of the last truth of who you are, the bigger amount of freedom, the bigger amount of responsibility. So you are now able to withstand the truth just a bit more. And when you see the truth more, then you also start to see the illusions that you carried with you, and they start dissolving and disappearing. You no longer create as the creator. You no longer create those difficult life lessons and scenarios and, so to speak, karmic debt that you believed or self-prescribed to yourself and you believe that you have, and it's your responsibility to heal it. You stop punishing yourself, you stop self-prescribing difficulties, you stop feeling responsible for some imaginary friends or relatives or ancestors of the past, and you realize that the reality creation happens always and only here and now. And you are the creator, and you are one with everything and everyone, and you are one with your so-called relatives. They don't exist. They are you. It's literally in you, in every cell of your body. They're not in some spirit realms that you can communicate with and channel from. They are literally you. They're within you. They're one with you. And you're only healing yourself and your own perception of death that you decide to, self-prescribe to yourself. The way we perceive anything is the way we create it. So if we perceive some debt that we carry, which comes from this unconscious desire to prescribe difficult life lesson to yourself in order to suffer, in order to fight something or for something, it's coming from the lack of self-worth and knowing who you truly are. It's coming from the lack of knowing that you are God, that you are the creator, that you have all the power, that you create this reality, that you're the source of every event, every scenario, every death that you self-prescribe to yourself, every karmic lesson that you self-prescribe, or every karma in general. You are the one who is this punishing or rewarding force that you projected on the outside. You are this parental figure, again, that you projected to the universe and to your ancestors. It's always been you, just you alone. And this battle is happening within you. This is the battle with your own ignorance and inability to be free in your consciousness and see the truth instead of seeing illusion. So the more we connect with the truth of who we are, with the last truth, with God that we are, the more we become free in our consciousness, the more we can withstand unity, and the more we can actually understand that every instant of our being, we choose, using our perception, what to create in this material reality. And nothing else exists. And we can be free from any karmic debt right here and now if we choose that to be the case. But as long as we hold on to this mentality of a victim versus knowing yourself as God, as long as we hold on to this mentality and identify with a victim rather than a winner, then we will unknowingly create problems and difficulties. We will see life as a school. We will self-prescribe difficult life scenarios to ourselves. We will suffer in order, quote unquote, in order to extract some wisdom and growth and expansion from that suffering, which is a huge illusion and a biggest spiritual trap. And I will record another lecture about that, about this biggest spiritual trap that possibly ever existed. And you realize that there's no need to heal any trauma, because any trauma, any ancestors' karma and debt and whatever, it is an illusion. You can't heal illusion. You can't fight illusion. There's nothing to heal in the first place. It's just the perception of a victim makes you see the illusion of a problem, of a trauma, of an issue where there's none. It's the distorted perception of self that creates this distorted image of reality that is projected outwards and creates all of these scenarios that cause pain and suffering and force us to go through so-called transformation. We do it to ourselves as a habit to suffer. We do it to ourselves as a habit to suffer because we believe that suffering is the only means to grow, to evolve spiritually. We justify suffering. We accept it on a subtle level, unknowingly. No matter how much our mind screams, oh, I don't want to suffer, I want happiness. That's not true. That's not the case. We accept suffering, and this is the only reason it still exists in the world, because we see it as a norm. We see that there is some gain we can have from suffering. Maybe it's wisdom or growth or insights or anything else. And we justify suffering. But that's something that we are also outgrowing now as a collective. And our next so-called lesson, if you still choose to use this word, our next true lesson is to start learning from happiness, not from suffering. Is to start growing and expanding from the knowing of the lost truth, from the knowing who you truly are, from the knowing yourself as God. This is where true expansion comes from. Not from suffering, not from misery, not from adversity, not from difficult life lessons that we create. Because we believe that life is a school and we're just students and not the creator. As long as you believe that you're a student of this life, not the creator of it, you will see life as a school, and if you see life as a school, you will require subconsciously the conditions for learning. You will create the conditions for learning in your material reality. The conditions for learning are different types of suffering. You'll create these opportunities to grow, to suffer and to grow from this suffering, because you see life as a school and yourself as a student, not the creator.